You wanted it? Yeah, you did. Well, now you got it. Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now I thought that we were done with the whole what if week thing, but we're back for one more fling at these type of discussions. In fact, thanks to your input, this is the first time I've done a two-part discussion. The topic? What if Goku became a Super Saiyan after he discovered Krillin dead for the first time in the original Dragon Ball? In the first part of the discussion, which you can find a link to in the top right, I explained the viability of said phenomena, about how, yes, Toriyama didn't think about Super Saiyan at the time that he wrote the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai Piccolo saga, but if we were to take the principles that we now know today and put them back to where he was in the 1980s, then we might have some kind of idea of what would happen. From that moment to the time of the Namek saga, Goku's journey was completely different. Today we shall continue this discussion as Goku continues his quest to bring his best friend back to life. At the end of the last videos, I included 2 polls, which you can see the results here. And yeah, one of them was really unanimous. Based on those polls, I shall continue with a part 2 of the discussion, as well as include Vegeta in the story, because a majority of you wanted to see Vegeta survive the attack. So going back to the Namek saga and the start of it, who goes with Goku to Namek? Since Krillin is dead and Gohan is not really figuring at this point of the story, it's a bit of a tough call. However, I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball here. I'm going to say that Goku sneaks Gohan out of the house and takes him with him to Namek, so that means he can see what his father does. Also, Goku really kind of doesn't care what Chi-Chi has to say. He has snuck Goten and Gohan out of the house before. And like in the anime, Bulma goes along with Goku and company because she's got some smarts and be able to help them on their journey. Well, I sort of talked about a similar scenario in my What If Piccolo Fused Early video, and I said there that Tenshinhan and Yamcha wouldn't come along with Goku because the whole gravity training thing, Goku had a bit of a head start and then Tenshinhan and Yamcha didn't. But this time though, the playing field will be a lot more even. Everyone will be starting from 1 times Earth gravity and going up from there. It would be much more likely that Tenshinhan and Yamcha could adapt to gravity training at the same pace as Goku. So, Goku, Gohan, Bulma, Tenshinhan and Yamcha head off for Namek. What about Chaozu? Well, he's left with Puar and the Breeze because Tenshinhan would deem it too dangerous for him. Since power levels are getting a lot bigger and things are actually going out into space, things are getting very unpredictable, so Tenshinhan thinks that his best bud is more safe on Earth. It takes about a couple of weeks for the big ship to be ready to go, so Bulma uses that time to study up on the Namekian language based on Kami's old spaceship. The gang set off once the spaceship is space-worthy, and like in the anime, the ship takes about 6 days to arrive on Namek. In that time, the gang train in high-intensity gravity, with the multiplier increasing day by day. But wait, Masako, what about Bulma? Surely she wouldn't want to be doing gravity training. Well, yeah, that's a good question. During this time, I think that Bulma would be pretty productive. She would either be studying outside the spaceship, going out on spacewalks, studying how the ship works in interstellar travel, because this is their first ever spaceship. I think Bulma would want to collect some data, or she'd be doing her work in a room that is not affected by high intensity gravity. But honestly, I think that the former scenario would be more likely because, hey, it's all good for the realm of science! Gohan is struggling because this is the first time he's actually been fighting, so trying to adapt in this short space of time is very difficult for such a young boy. But I believe that all this high gravity stress is enough to trigger something inside Gohan, and Goku can sense it. Something is boiling up inside of him, and he pushes his son to the very brink of death to then get him to do a massive power boost that would almost destroy the spacecraft. Goku is amazed at the power that is just lurking inside his son. He wants to really tap into that. But Bulma ain't too thrilled, as you could imagine. The gang arrive on Namek at around about the same time that Gohan, Krillin and Bulma did in the anime. Now, based on the efficacy of high gravity training as well as Daizenshuu 7, Goku's power level by the time he arrives on Namek was around 90,000. And then when we take the Tree of Might movie pamphlet into account, Goku's power level by the time he left Earth was around 10,000. That movie was set around the time after Goku and Vegeta had their fight and around the time Goku was about to head out for Namek. Of course, in this situation, the movies aren't canon to the story, it's just a rough estimate in terms of time. We then extrapolate that and get a 9 times increase in power from high gravity training in under a week. However, let's take the fact that Tenshinhan and Yamcha and Gohan, they've been having to adapt more, so I think Goku might have been a little hindered because of their progress. So instead of a 9 times multiplier, it's more like 8. Now, if we take that 8 times increase and then extrapolate it to everyone else, we get the following in terms of power. Now remember, this is a theoretical discussion, this isn't hard fact. Goku's power level would be 80,000, Tenshinhan would be around 15,000, Yamcha 12,000, and then Gohan would be somewhere between 2 and 3,000 depending on when he had his rage boost. It might have been towards the end of their journey, who knows. These numbers don't matter too much in the grand scheme of things, but it's a rough idea about how good the gravity training was. These numbers would have been accurate, of course, before Guru awakes everyone's hidden potential, just like he did with Krillin and Gohan in the original timeline. The gang then takes shelter inside a nearby cave, and Bulma tries to adapt the Dragon Radar to detect Namekian Dragon Balls. Luckily though, they emit a similar frequency to the Earth Dragon Ball, so there's really not that much tinkering necessary. With this slightly tweaked radar, Tenshinhan and Yamcha head out to find Dragon Balls. They then stumble upon the village that Dende is living in, where Frieza, Zarbon and Dodoria are first seen in the anime. Now there is a valid question here. How would Frieza know about the Dragon Balls? I imagine that Vegeta might have heard about the Dragon Balls during his time on Earth while Goku and Vegeta are talking, because in Z, there is a lot of talking between bad guys and good guys. You know, they'll, oh, you are strong, oh, so are you, my best friend died, oh, we're gonna use Dragon Balls. It would have come up in the conversation. Because Scouters are open, Frieza would have heard about this and done his research and then found out about Dragon Balls on Namek. Ah yes, but Namek is so much closer to Earth, let's go shopping there instead. From this point on, the story takes a similar path to that in the anime, only with Tenshinhan and Yamcha replacing Gohan and Krillin. Dende still takes the gang to Guru's place, only this time everybody gets a boost, including Goku. Meanwhile, Vegeta has arrived on Namek and is after the Dragon Balls too. He managed to find out that Frieza had gone to Namek from Qui like he did in the anime, so he went off in hot pursuit. There is then a three-sided game of cat and mouse to gather the Dragon Balls first. It's Vegeta, the Z-Warriors, and Frieza. In the midst of all this squabble, Zarbon detects a power level coming from where Lord Guru's tower is. Once everyone's hidden potential is unlocked, they basically just get a power level going boosh when everyone actually powers up. He and Dodoria go to investigate and they discover the gang for the first time. After their potential was unlocked, everyone is stronger than Zarbon and Dodoria with the exception of Gohan. Because of this though, Dodoria takes advantage and kidnaps Gohan and runs off with him. But he is unaware of Gohan's rage boosts and that will come into effect in a moment. The gang would go after Gohan immediately, but they are preoccupied with Zarbon as he goes into his beast mode. Goku's had enough of this though, and he one-shot Zarbon in the stomach like Vegeta did with him in the anime. He then goes after Dodoria in search for his son. Halfway to Frieza's ship, Gohan lets out a huge scream, knocking him out of Dodoria's grasp and sending him flying down to the ground. Now Gohan's rage boost was enough to severely injure Dodoria, but it wasn't enough to kill him. But Goku is quickly on the scene and he blasts Dodoria away in revenge for taking his son. Frieza has noticed that Zarbon and Dodoria have disappeared and he is aghast. He quickly calls the Ginyu Force. Now as the Z fighters have been preoccupied with Zarbon, Dodoria and getting their powers unlocked by Guru, Vegeta has been quietly gathering the Dragon Balls behind the scenes. The Ginyu Force arrive, but they are dealt with much faster than in the anime. Now here's something that might be neat to see. Tenshinhan and Yamcha versus Jason Berta. Two buddy acts going face to face with each other. That would make for a really cool fight, I think. Gohan could try his best against Goldo, but this is when Vegeta arrives on the scene and takes out Goldo in one hit. He wants to get his own back against the Ginyu Force now that he too has received a Zenkai boost. Goku's fight with Recoome is relatively pedestrian, it just happens the same way as it does in the anime. Vegeta and Goku stand off again, with Vegeta demanding that Goku tells him how to become a Super Saiyan. How can a low-class warrior become the legendary Super Saiyan and not him, the Prince of all Saiyans? He will be asking that many times, for years to come. Goku refuses to tell Vegeta because he doesn't know what he will do with that kind of power. But just then, Captain Ginyu arrives on the scene, having overheard the Super Saiyan discussion. He could use that power instead. He uses his change ability to then go into Goku's body like he does in the anime. And sure enough, he can't tap into Goku's power, and he is a fraction of the strength. And Vegeta, he's going to wail on Kakarot out of spite. Also, he managed to get one against Captain Ginyu. And of course, the whole Ginyu frog dealie happens without any incident. Vegeta then books it after he forgot about the Dragon Balls. Luckily, Goku still has some Senzu beans because he didn't need to use them for Gohan and Krillin, so one is used on him and he's back up to full strength. Now thanks to having his potential unlocked, being beaten half to death by Vegeta receiving a Zenkai boost, and then receiving a Senzu bean going back to full strength, instead of having to sit in a Saiyan medical pod for many hours, he is now at roughly the same power level he was when he fought Frieza for the first time, 3 million. That means because he knows Super Saiyan right now, Goku has the full access to the power of 150 million that he did in the anime when he fought Frieza at full power. This is hours before he received the Super Saiyan transformation in the anime. Now because his minions are mostly dead or dying, the Ginyu Force are out, Zarbon and Dodoria are gone, he decides to take matters into his own hands and go after Goku personally. Goku can sense Frieza approaching and he tells the others to go after Vegeta. This is where we get the Goku-Frieza fight, although this time it's much less climactic. Goku and Frieza stand off for a bit before Goku whooping first form Frieza. Frieza then transforms into his second form, but Goku is still able to cream him. At this point, Goku is really disappointed at the lack of a fight. He thought Frieza was the strongest guy in the universe, and here he is just doing nothing for him. Frieza obliges by going into his third form. Goku's getting a little bit excited now. He feels like he can show off his transformation. He then powers up to Super Saiyan, and it's vastly more powerful than third form Frieza. He really lays the smackdown on Frieza. Frieza says he has one more transformation for him, but Goku's really bored now. This third transformation is nothing for Super Saiyan. What else is there to do? He's kind of done. You saw how bored Goku got with Frieza in the anime. He's getting tired of Frieza's excuses and uses a Kamehameha to wipe him off the face of Namek. Now you could argue that Goku would be curious to see Frieza at full power, but after 2 transformations that would have been really lackluster in Goku's eyes, his attention span would have been gone. He would be tired of this nonsense, and Frieza wouldn't have expected his greatest enemy to be a fickle country bumpkin. With Frieza now a pile of ash, Namek is safe. As Frieza and Goku have been duking it out, Vegeta is then accosted by Tenshinhan, Yamcha and Gohan, as well as a curious Nail. Goku then arrives and talks to Vegeta, stating that he doesn't have to keep running away from problems. He can join them and get stronger together. He's free of Frieza's tyranny. Vegeta kind of accepts this in his head, but he's not gonna let anyone else know that at the moment. He shoots a hole in Frieza's nearby spaceship where the Dragon Balls are and then escapes. But he'll be back though. With the balls intact, the gang wish, with the aid of Dende, for Krillin to be brought back to life as well as anyone else killed by King Piccolo and his men. The wish is easily granted. They still have 2 wishes though. The second wish is used for Krillin to be brought to Namek so Goku can give him a big hug. Krillin is still a young boy and he can't believe how Goku's so tall. It's been 10 years since he died. Now for the third wish, Goku is just about to ask for Kami to be brought back to life, but then Krillin stops him saying that if Kami's brought back to life, King Piccolo would be brought back too. Now this makes sense since there's nobody strong enough to deal with King Piccolo at the moment. They're all on Namek, so who knows what he might do in the meantime. Instead, Dende wishes for all the Namekians killed by Lord Frieza and his men to be brought back to life. After this, the gang are about to say their goodbyes. Namek will be in safe hands thanks to Nail, Mori, and Lord Guru. Just then, Goku says that they need a new Guardian of Earth, so they ask Nail whether he'd like to be the Guardian. But naturally, Nail declines because he says that he needs to be in Namek to protect everyone. So he suggests Dende instead. At first, the young Namekian is hesitant, but his clan then believe that he'll be in safe hands with everyone on Earth. And by the way, Dende's younger brother Cargo's alive now. After this, the gang actually experience a relative time of peace. With no Mecha Frieza to worry about and King Cold somewhere out there in space mourning the death of his son, the gang are relatively left undisturbed until Trunks appears to warn them about the artificial humans. Now you could have a mini arc here where the gang go after King Cold and finish him off then, but I'm just saying for simplicity's sake and to keep things short here, I'm just going to bypass that. Maybe I'll discuss that in a future video. Things start to realign with the main timeline, except for one thing. Goku never went to Yardrat and therefore never learnt instant transmission. Uh-oh. That could be a major problem. But this is a time, I believe, for King Kai to finally step in. He could make an appearance here by using his instant transmission to arrive on Earth and talk to Goku, and say thank you for dealing with Frieza, he'd been a big pest in the North Galaxy. King Kai offers to train Goku everything he knows, just as a sign of gratitude. Goku is amazed by this instant transmission. He wants to learn it, so he agrees to go with King Kai. Now, as Goku's training with King Kai, he also learns the Kaioken and the Spirit Bomb, just because King Kai is going to be really happy at this point. All of his worries are now gone, or at least the majority of them, so he'd be more than happy to teach Goku everything he knows. As Goku's off training, the gang help Dende settle into his new job as the Guardian of Earth. He also then creates a new set of Dragon Balls with 2 wishes as he did in the anime. Now where's Vegeta in all this? Sure enough, he does stop by Earth, having gone to other planets that Frieza ruled over and telling them that their lord was dead by his hands. He'd be taking the credit for this, as well as trying to find Goku and figure out how he became Super Saiyan. Now for those of you who worried that Vegeta and Bulma might not get together, don't worry, they do. Bulma's sassy nature and Vegeta's stubborn pride are things that are just too compatible not to have. Sure enough, the prince begins to be reformed like he is in Dragon Ball Super in particular. He doesn't want to be immortal anymore, he's past that. He just wants to get stronger and defeat Kakarot one-on-one. From here, the rest of the Dragon Ball story would be realigned. The only exceptions would be that Tenshinhan and Yamcha are a lot stronger, and Krillin is a lot younger, but hey, he's alive now. Now either he would accept being younger, or he would use a wish on Shenron to make himself the same age as Goku. Of course, some of you might be thinking this all ties in too neatly. Now I know a lot of you might think that King Kai's appearance right now is quite convenient, but he has been watching Goku's progress, and getting rid of Frieza, who is a galactic emperor and a tyrant, that's a big deal and that should be rewarded. Now I might be a bit pragmatic and pessimistic when it comes to writing these types of scenarios, but I felt that this was the right time for the Z-Warriors to get a treat. Besides, Toriyama loves them convenient plot points, don't he? So what do you guys think? Did you guys like what I had to say? Do you think there's something that you would like to take away or add to it? Leave a comment below, vote in the poll above, and let's get this discussion going. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Until the next one, be sure to like and subscribe. Catch you later.